I think we've set a standard for ourselves, and yeah, we've set an expectation that if that's the level we can perform at, then why not do that all the time? And it's not going to be as easy as we're just going to turn up and play a perfect game every time. There's going to be moments where we're against it and we have to figure out how to try and grind out results and win games when we're not doing so well. But in an ideal world, we set up every game like pretty well like we did, and execute the game plan how we did, and we keep going. But I think the performance has definitely got the country excited and the world, to kind of recognise that, we're a really good team and we can do things in this tournament, which I don't think people expected us to do beforehand.
The famous words of Jedi. I love Antonee Robinson's optimism, and he is right. He has definitely ignited the excitement within the country because the US got off in the best possible fashion against Paraguay. But also kudos and credit to Australia, who a lot of people counted out in Group D and were able to upset against Tenorio. So I'm going to come to you now immediately, and I just want to know, Chuck D, when you look at the excitement, the energy that was created by the US in the opening game, how do they now replicate it and make sure they don't get upset by Australia in Game 2?
Just consistency with the pressure, consistency with ball control in the attacking third, the movement. I think after that first performance, now we're starting to dream. All of us Americans,
okay.
We
the American dream.
Yeah, it's the American dream. If they perform in that manner, it inspired everyone who watches them play. Whether you are a soccer fan or a sports fan, you casually watched them because the World Cup's on. You felt, hey, this team's got something special. I can get behind this. They're representing what we all want, and made everyone proud. So I think with that, we can start to dream.
I love the balance. I love the fact that you were able to go out and establish it. And I've always said it, the hosts need to make sure that they ignite. Mexico have done their job. Canada did all right in terms of credit to themselves. But the US had a lot of pressure on them going into this. The expectations were through the roof. I just want to know, in terms of from some of the standout performances, we've already seen the flowers that's been given to Christian. We've already seen Flo Balogun get his flowers as well. But was there some underrated stars that you feel like maybe should get their flowers in their own right?
Yeah, Alex Freeman. I mean, this kid just came onto the scene, right? He gets his move to Villarreal, but every time he puts on that U.S. men's national team shirt, you're starting to see him really come to life. I love the fact that he's growing with every performance. Look at how many ball recoveries he had. His positioning is standout. He's able to just break through on the dribble. As somebody who can tuck in as a right center back if need be, but plays as a right back, gets forward, just looks very comfortable out there.
Yeah, I think he adds an incredible balance and fluidity with Poch's system in being able to adapt from whether they want to play 3 at the back, 5 at the back, and sometimes even a 4, because of his composure on the ball, which is why La Liga teams are interested in
so are you feel? Has anyone moved you? Are you feeling anybody?
I like this, and I love the fact that we're asking this question because I think Malik Tillman is someone that I feel like deserves a lot of flowers. There was a lot of question marks as to whether or not he would play, whether or not he would start. I see the other players that potentially, especially Reyna, of course, who came off the bench. And I think it was always going to add value to whether or not he is the real deal. I've seen him in Europe and I've seen him at club level and I've seen the glimpses of quality that he had. But some of the touches around the corner, Chuck, were fantastic. Some of the interchange in terms of with Flo Balogun, when Flo would drop into spaces, he would expand and stretch the defence. I think sometimes the runs that people don't give credit for, maybe the cameras don't pick up, and you'll know when you have players that are in and around you as someone who's had the line for a number of teams and, of course, for your nation, these energy players are just as important. You can always have your Magic and Christian, but these players that's willing to do some of the dirty work and necessarily doesn't get all of the credit.
One thing I love about you pulling up Malik Tillman is he's silky smooth on the ball. He sees these passing lanes that other players don't. But when you talk about duels won, he's winning tackles in the attacking third.
Yeah.
When we lose the ball as the U.S. men's national team, everyone's scrambling. He's one of the first players to go put the right pressure on and win the ball back for the squad, which was so impressive. We suffocated Paraguay, and we're going to have to do the same thing versus Australia.
I mean, the standard's been set now, and I understand Chuck D is obviously at his highest in terms of optimism. You can see who he's representing the USA. I want to hear from someone who's on the ground, though. Paul Tenorio, this is your opportunity to turn around and tell us everything that you're seeing. I'm surprised you're not at the frat house. I know how you athletic correspondents get down. You've been enjoying your time together, and I'm looking forward to every time I see you guys. But just tell me about Poch's relationship and how he's raised the expectation. Has your growth and confidence in what he's going to do in this tournament expanded after Game 1?
I mean, I think it's impossible not to feel that way after the way Game 1 went, right? I mean, everything went well against Paraguay. The midfield was clicking. The attack, when Christian Pulisic was on the ball, looked especially dangerous. Flo Balogun was finishing his opportunities in the box. It didn't really get tested defensively, which is the one thing we still need to see from this U.S. team, see how Matt Freese can handle those moments when he's asked to make a big save. But I think without a doubt, going into tomorrow's game against Australia, the vibes are positive. The optimism is there. I sat down with Mauricio Pochettino earlier this week at the team hotel for a story that was on The Athletic today, and he talked about this idea, right, of like dreaming big, dreaming that you are on the moon so that you can at least get close rather than just dreaming of getting close and you stay on the earth. And I think that is the vibe around this team right now is just belief that they can do something special.
Preach, Paul. I absolutely love that. I've been dreaming, so it's nice to see that Pochettino feels the same way. I'm curious because everyone wants to know, what's the latest update with Christian Pulisic? Do you feel he's going to start? Do you think he's going to come off the bench? Do you think he's going to be completely rested? And what's the overall vibe around him?
Well, I mean, I'll say that the U.S. doesn't want to tell us much, and there's a reason for that. It's because Australia is going to be watching what we say here and what we put in writing, what kind of video they put up of Christian Pulisic training. You know, it's been modified training sessions for Pulisic with that left calf injury. We've seen him in the weight room. We've seen him come out and do a little bit of resistance work, a little bit of ball work yesterday. But my hunch, this is just a hunch, not reporting, my hunch is that they're playing up the possibility that he could play and that he won't play against Australia. But I could also, and my colleagues do, talk me into the idea that they're actually playing up how hurt he is. And as soon as the media gets escorted out of training, Christian jumps in full training. I think that they're going to be cautious. I think they're going to be cautious with this calf injury. They should be, considering the way that this World Cup works now, where third-place teams can advance to the knockout. You have to start thinking about Christian Pulisic's availability, not just for the group game against Turkey, but also the round of 32 and anything you hope to do beyond that. This is an Australia team they've beaten once before. They're going to play in a low block. You know, maybe they have faith in Tillman and maybe Gio Reyna comes into the game. Maybe you see somebody like Brenden Aaronson and they try to see if they can to get a win, wrap up the group and give Christian Pulisic another couple weeks before he has to play.
Paul, I want to hold you on that point right there. We see what Gio Reyna did in terms of when he came off the bench. So do you expect him, if Christian isn't fully fit or unavailable to start, is he someone that you would like to see step into that fold and maybe give an impact from the beginning?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? It's about what are you trying to accomplish tactically. If you feel Australia is going to be sitting in a really low, deep block and be defensively sound, which I think is the right way to anticipate how they'll play, then yeah, maybe you do look at Gio Reyna because of his ability to create things in tight spaces. It's not a game where they're going to get stretched, where you're asking Gio Reyna to run a lot in theory. But I could also see and justify the idea of somebody like Alex Zendejas, who, you know, he has a great shot, can shoot from distance, can create goals for himself, can create goals for others. Brenden Aaronson, where he's going to come in and press hard, create moments out of the counter press, try to force a mistake in the back for Australia. I would guess that Mauricio Pochettino, looking at the fact that Gio Reyna comes off of that Trivela goal, is filled with confidence, that maybe you try to roll with that confidence and show Reyna how much you believe in him and hope that translates onto the field if Christian Pulisic can't play.
Paul, I'm curious, just because after that first game, looking back at it, they were just so dominant in every facet of the game. And even when Paraguay got a little glimpse of hope, they came back with that Gio Reyna goal to just finish things on a high note. If they are playing at that level consistently throughout this World Cup, what's realistic for you? How far can they go? If they play that well, could they get to a final? Could they win a World Cup? What are you thinking about this current U.S. men's national?
Look at the smile on his face already. Look at this. He got him smiling at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Look, it's earlier than that out here out west, by the way. Want to make sure we all note that. No, it's a tournament, right? So part of it is about who you land in front of you, but also it means all you need to do is win the next game and win the next game. This isn't this enormous thing where you have to think about winning 6 games to get to a final, because you just have to worry about, can you beat this team in a knockout? Like, my father is Costa Rican, as you guys know. Like, I watched them in Brazil game after game just believing that they can win that one game. Can this U.S. team beat anybody in a knockout game? Yes, they can. Does the bracket right now lay out nicely for them to potentially make a run into a quarterfinal? And at that point, do you start thinking about what it would look like in a semi and who you place there? Of course. So why not? Why not believe it? Why not enjoy it? You know, I think that's the thing. This World Cup has been so much fun already. And I think, you know, the hope for U.S. fans should be that they can have some fun this summer, that this can be a team to get behind and believe in, to go to the bars and get together and watch it all together and hope that they do something special. I'm going to lean into that positivity and optimism right now. I'm not going to be my normal cynical self. So yeah, let's see if they can make a run. Make this
look at
a little bit more fun than we thought.
Let's go, Paul.
I can't believe
even the cynical people, they're bought in. They're bought in.
Paul, I appreciate you for getting up nice and early and checking in with us as always. Enjoy.